The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Welcome to the 15-Point Plan podcast. Chad Himes here with the frisky Jillene Snell. How are you doing over there today, Jillene?
I'm good. That makes me laugh, though.
A little feisty, frisky co-host I've got for today's episode. Folks, be ready. Who knows what's coming out of her, because she has been giving it back to me during all of our pre-recording conversations.
Someone's got to, and you all know this about Chad, right?
It could be fun today.
I have volunteered myself to be that person.
All right.
You're welcome.
Jillene, today's not just an episode. Today is a very, very special episode. Jillene, why is today so special?
It's season 1 finale.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right? Episode 82 will bring season 1 to a close.
Is that a multiplication of 15 by chance? Not quite. But if it were, that'd be very cool.
That would have been freaky if it worked out that way.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So we are wrapping up season 1 with a review of what the 15-Point Plan is. We're going to go through very brief.
Yep.
And then we're going to share some amazing stories from people who have publicly allowed us to share how the 15-Point Plan has changed their life, as well as mine and Chad. So I think these stories, they're not just inspiring, but they give us some deeper tactics and insights to be able to go and use the 15-Point Plan at an even higher level to create more energy in our lives.
Absolutely. So, Jillene, not everybody's been listening to all 82 episodes now. Let's give them a rundown quickly of the 15-Point Plan. Ben Kinney created this to help people get out of a rut. And as I've added, and into the groove. We've talked about the difference between a rut and a groove on one of our episodes, just your perspective. Jillene, let's run through these 15 points. Number 1.
Is goals. Just writing and looking at your goals every single day.
Yeah. Number 2 is movement. We want to get your heart rate up. We talk about a lot of that. We recommend minimum 20 minutes a day. Next.
Hydration, drinking water. I just took a sip myself, but it can be difficult. But the body is made up primarily of water.
Yes.
So we need hydration.
Half your body weight in ounces is our recommendation. Sleep was the next one on the list. Getting required sleep. That might be 6, 7, 8 hours for you. Who knows? But are you getting the right amount of sleep?
Nutrition is next. So eating food that is more like medicine and nutritional for the body versus empty calories or something that you just need a quick fix but doesn't actually provide your body nutrition.
Yes. Watch what
that could be. And then supplements is next.
Yeah, supplements. So taking vitamins, minerals, whatever it is that you need to supplement, because we're not getting it from certain foods or we're not getting it from certain situations. We dove into some of our highly recommended supplements earlier on in the season. Jillene, next would be?
Influences. So essentially, like, what is the input from around us? That could be a who, or it could be a what, like a person and how they influence us, who we surround ourselves with, as well as like technology, if there's, what we're seeing on our screens and TV.
Excellent. Jillene, take the next one as well, because this is your area of expertise.
Yeah, I love this one. It's journaling. So you could journal in an Apple Note or online. You could journal with a pen and a paper. There's different ways of journaling, but writing down your thoughts and being able to use it as a processing mechanism.
And you teach the 5G method through the season. People should definitely go check that one out. Next on the list is mindfulness. It's taking that time daily for some meditation, some prayer, however you center yourself, whatever that is to you, being mindful of what's going on out there. Jillene, next as we go through them.
Gratitude. So that is just making space to stop and think about what we're truly grateful for in a purposeful manner every single day.
Yeah, what a great one. I think that one brings so much power to everybody. Followed by laugh, right? Taking 30 seconds every day and laughing. Getting just in here before we record the episode. I usually get my 30 seconds in. If I don't, when you leave, Dave and I definitely get those 30 seconds in after you've left the room. Jillene, keep going down the list. What's after laughter?
One of my favorites, learning. So just making a goal of learning something new every single day, whether it's listening or reading.
Yes, excellent. Next is hobbies. Remember, the big thing we want you to remember is what you do for a living is not a hobby. right? It's getting away from what you do from a living, even if you love what you do from a living, so that every day you're doing something that you can be doing for you, plan, research about it, whatever it's going to be. Keep going. Let's wrap these last two up. Jillene, one for you.
Yeah, this is serving. So this is really just giving back to others, whether we're volunteering our time, donating money, or just making someone smile or sending them an appreciative text.
Yeah, and I think Ben shared really well about serving is that when you're focused on other people, you can't be worrying about what your stresses are, and you're able to relieve yourself from some of them during that time.
I just actually used that this week. I had a day where I felt very moody. And I'm like, this
Just
is
one?
super, this is uncharacteristic, right? I'm naturally optimistic and happy. And I said, okay, well, how do I pull myself out of that? And I did just what you mentioned. I started
Excellent.
saying, how could I give back to other people around me? And it pulled me and lifted me out of that mood.
And then the last one of the 15-point plan was time, which was creating your plan the night before so that you're ready for the next day, having some time for yourself, controlling your calendar, whatever that meant for you to know that you were moving yourself in the right direction. Jillene, the 15-point plan, it's health, it's happiness, it's energy levels. It's right there for everybody. We have a tracker. You can go to 15pointplan.com where you can download these 15. You can download the tracker if you want to track them each and every day. There's a Facebook group, 15-Point Plan for Life, where these people that have decided to join this group are there to track their success and failure and challenges with the 15-point plan every day. You asked them last week in the group for some impact that the 15-point plan has had on their life, and we got some great responses from some of our audience. So thank you to those of you who shared. Jillene, I know you had one that you were like, I want to start here and I want to share.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'll just start with Michelle Bush. Her feedback was, what I've learned is how important each of these daily habits are in keeping your alignment with them. I'm aware of where I need to improve on my self-care, and I'm actively working on it, which is a huge difference from before when I wasn't even paying attention and the days were just rolling by. You know, I read that phrase, the days were just rolling by, and I actually highlighted it, Chad, because I noticed that's what happens in our lives. The days start rolling by. I know when you're younger, time kind of goes by slow, and the older you get, all of a sudden they disappear. And I did this exercise recently that really is tied to the 15-point plan, daily system. And it was tracking my time every 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So our team leader, Ryan Gregg, he challenged our team to use this 15-minute tracker the other day, and I did it. I think I'm doing it for the whole week. And I noticed that I was just so much more focused and purposeful by knowing that I had to track something. I ended that day, and even though it took a little bit of extra time having to fill out every 15 minutes of what I spent my time on, I ended the day saying, wow, I completed like a number of projects and things that were outstanding that do really require focus, and I felt like I had a winning day.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah. So that's just one example. Chad, what's another example?
Well, Jacqueline, she said, they say that systems make the ordinary extraordinary. We've heard that many times. She says we have systems for everything related to our business, and this is the system needed for self-care. She said this is the system that's the foundation for everything. It allows her to have the mindset and energy she needs to do the things she wants to do. And it's simple enough to actually do this every day.
It's not complicated. I love that she pointed that out.
Yes.
It's not overwhelming. It's not complicated. It is truly simple and life-changing. So thank you, Jacqueline, for that.
Absolutely. Keep going through the list. Who else shared, Jillene? What did you got?
Yeah. His name is Mate, and he had some great feedback. He uses this and posts every day on the 15-Point Plan Facebook group. He started the 15-Point Plan by joining a group chat with his two close friends. And since he started, he has more energy to be with his very active son and more energy for his real estate business. His happiness is high and, more important, consistent. Happiness is consistent. He lost weight, increased focus and productivity. He ran a half marathon, I believe, or completed a half marathon.
Coming soon.
Oh, yes, coming soon. He's training for it right now. Yep. He found a hobby that he enjoys, which is improv. He has a long list, but those are a few examples of how it's changed his life.
Yeah, I sent him a training for the race, so I know it's coming soon. I'll do the same for any of you out there. You can always reach out to us. We are here to help you achieve those goals. So run well, Mate. All right, next I had one. I grabbed Michelle. She shared. She said, the 15-point plan was created by Ben to help yourself get out of a rut, as we've always said. She says it does that and so much more. Her mindset is better. Her habits are better. And she's actually discovered hobbies that she loves that now she makes sure to enjoy regularly. So those were some of the key takeaways that it brought into Michelle's world.
Wow. I just love to see how this plays out. And you can really see people, and Michelle Herndon, she's, a successful businesswoman. And she's saying, I'm putting myself first.
Yep.
And I love that example. The next is, her name is Madison Heimbinger. And she says, she actually just got married. So congratulations, Madison. My biggest takeaway is that following this system and this model has drastically improved my life and made me feel so much happier and more fulfilled. I truly feel like I found something that is easy enough to implement daily and complete no matter where I am or what I am doing. I'm in such a better mindset when I'm focused on getting to 15-point plans, and I'm a much better friend, wife, realtor when I'm taking care of myself.
Aren't we all just better people when we take care of ourselves a little bit, even though we all feel guilty doing it?
No doubt.
Yeah. So Lee wrote us a novel. Thank you, Lee, for really diving into it. I'm just going to take some highlights from Lee here. Lee said that it has had such a positive impact in her life, family, and her closest relationship. She says, reviewing my goals on a daily basis was honestly the missing link to be committed to consistency. I just love that, right? The missing link to be committed to consistency was reviewing those goals that we have. And that's point number 1 on the 15-point plan. Now she reviews them. She would review them weekly and then go do what she always did. Yet really analyzing where I was and where I needed to be tomorrow allowed me to make the changes that I needed to make. Talks about how journaling in your 5G lesson really, really impacted. I just love this last paragraph that Lee said, introduce this to some of my closest friends, and we have a daily accountability chat where we share our gratitude and review our goals together. One of our friends was at a very low point in her life. We had an informal intervention. Anybody ever have an intervention for you in your life at any point, Jillene?
Probably informally. I can imagine.
That you
I
probably
can't
didn't
think
realize?
of one moment. Yeah.
Okay. I had a very formal one.
Did you?
Oh, yes. One of our friends was at a very low point in her life. They had an informal intervention and used the 15-point plan as a tool to help her find herself again. Checked in with her and each other every day this year, and now she's out of that dark place because she was able to do it. So, Lee, thank you for sharing that and seeing how much of an impact it's had.
That is actually, I love that she shared that.
Yep.
Because when you look at the statistical mental health trend in America, it is really, really scary. I mean, 1 in 3 suffer from severe depression.
Yes.
And the number keeps growing every year, especially after the pandemic and, the wake that had.
Yep.
And now, financially things are changing for people. Economically things are changing. And mental health is more and more important. And I think this is such a simple tool that we can use to identify someone that might be in that dark place, and a very soft way to help them get to a better place. So Thank you, Lee, for giving us that example.
And next?
Dave Johns, he said, when I started to work through the 15 points to find a rhythm, it always came back to my nightly plan time. When I made the time for the plan, the next day seemed to fall into place. I would say the biggest impact is the daily reminder to post my score, never a judgment attached to it.
Yeah, I think that's great because the 15-point plan group, don't think you can't join it because, I'm only going to have 3 or 5 or 6. It doesn't matter. The group wasn't there to make you feel badly and judge you for it. The group was there to say, how do we support you? How do we help you get just one more? What is it that we could do to hold you accountable to get where you want to go? And now we're seeing people that are hitting 13, 14, 15. Like Ben had said, I think the number was 12. He says, if you're 12's that over-under number. If you're over 12, things are probably good. You're feeling you're in that groove. If things are under 12, you're probably feeling that rut going on.
Yeah.
And I've watched the group is they've been able to help people get over that 12 number and challenge them to get where they're going.
It's about consistency, not perfection. And if you think of every one of these 15 points as like 100%, like 1 point's 100%, and let's just say, Chad, you look at a week, 7-day period, and Monday is 50%, Tuesday is 80%, and Thursday is 75%, and Friday is 99% or 100%, right? That if you just look at that week, and every week, if you were to say, I showed up, that's more important than getting 100%.
Okay.
It's really showing up and doing your best and having that trend of consistency.
And if every point was 10%, then you could actually achieve 150%.
Yeah, if you look at it that way,
right?
yes.
And look at that. They always say you can't give more than 100. I can give 150% because I did the 15-point plan perfectly today. Jillene, what about you? You didn't comment. You didn't add anything in here. What was the biggest takeaway from season 1? You had been exposed to the 15-point plan before we started the podcast, of course. That's why you and I decided to take this and turn it into this. What's the biggest takeaway for you?
Yeah, it's interesting because when I look at these 15 points and they're here on a sheet in front of me, like the summary of all of them, and I look at them and I make a personal assessment of like where I'm at. And there's some that I'm still really struggling with, like hydration, for example. I really struggle with that one. I haven't got to a great level with that. Found out, by the way, my mom and my grandma do not like to drink water and have never liked to drink water.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm not third generation that doesn't like to drink water, right? So there's
Break the cycle, Jillene.
Yes, we're trying. I think one of my big takeaways is I took 1 or 2 of these and then said, you know what, I am getting movement in this. And I focused on the gain versus the gap. And I said, let me make this one a little stronger and work towards mastery. So one of my favorite ones from this year was learning. Okay. And clearly I have to in order to be a podcast host. And I read a lot leading up to every single podcast. That probably helps, right? I had a reason to read, to study for something. But what I did is I increased my amount of reading by about 100% this year. That meant if I was reading 15 minutes a day last year, and now I'm reading 30. If I was reading 30 last year, I'm reading an hour. And it's probably close to 45 minutes that I'm reading every single day, maybe an hour.
Wow.
And that's between listening and reading.
Okay.
I read this book, speaking of, so I'm going to tie this in with this. And it's it's the Almanac of Naval. Yep. It's written by someone else about him. But what Naval says, he says, it almost doesn't matter what you read. Eventually you will read enough things and your interest will lead you there that it will dramatically improve your life. Just like the best workout for you is the one you're excited enough to do every single day. He says the best things to read are the ones you're most excited about reading all the time. So I was just putting labels on my reading, like labels like I have to finish the book. I have to read a certain amount. I have to, like putting restrictions on it where I said, now I just grab a book and I am now starting to really start and finish them with this 100% increase. But what it's doing is it's opening my mind to all of the other 14 points and how impactful they actually are in my life. And then removing judgment from myself, really allowing that personal growth, Chad. And then also removing more and more judgment from other people. So there was this quote I saw. Let me pull it up here. And it was about it was a statistic that was probably made up. So I'll just say that, right? This person says, one of the clearest signs of intelligence is being interested in other people's perspectives and understanding other people. And the statistic says 95% of people I meet aren't. And so this time spent learning allows us to develop this level of intelligence that we become more open to other people's perspectives. We become more empathetic. And I'm seeing that really play out in such a huge way, as well as really understanding more and more how important the 15 points are in our life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
I know that was a little deep, Chad.
Deep.
But see, I just chose learning, and that had this domino effect with the other 14 points.
Sure.
Yeah. What about you? Tell me how it's impacted yours.
Episode 41.
Which
I'll just
remind
leave it right
me.
there. Action Jackson. right?
Yes.
Episode 41 has changed things for me. I was a healthy person until I met Action Jackson, and then I became an extremely healthy person, right? I mean, it led me to remember that goals are possible. Sometimes we look at them and say, oh, I wish and if we're willing to put the work in, anything is still possible. Didn't matter that I'm 50 years old now. It didn't matter what position I was in, what my shape looked like, all that. When Jackson challenged me off the air to join his program and get myself the six-pack that I said, yeah, I wish I had a six-pack, I was able to do it, right? And it reminded me of all the other things that are out there about how we can half-ass the 15-point plan. And if you used your analogy of if each one's worth 10, okay, you could very easily just half-ass it and just get a little check mark. You get the small check, or you could put a big check mark in each box. Movement could be, okay, we claim movement is 20 minutes a day, or for those out there who still want to believe it, that it's 10,000 steps. Okay. And you might get 10,001 step and be able to say, okay, I did it. Why not go out there and do 20,000 steps?
I think it's just showing up first. That's the most important step, even if you're not getting 100%, because it's your journey to getting that full check, right?
And to each of us, it's different. So I look at the group. I play along in the Facebook group. I keep my eye on them. I give feedback to some people as they're going along and encouragement when I can. And we're all in different places. So movement to somebody in that group is not movement to me. And that doesn't matter, right? It's my 15-point plan. And that's a thing I really think back in I think it was episode 16 or something like that. Or maybe it was 17. You created and shared your customized 15-point plan and what it meant for everybody. And the thing that I really took from the whole program was, one, goals are still possible. You can always push yourself to the next level. There's never I've reached the top of the mountain and I'm good here, okay? Unless you really just want to. And again, that we are all so unique that my 15-point plan and your 15-point plan might have the same 15 points, yet that doesn't mean our definition of what it is we need to do to earn the 15 points is anywhere near the same. And it's okay to customize it. It's okay to make this yours because it's going to get you out of your rut. Doing Jillene's 15-point plan isn't going to get me out of my rut.
Right.
It's going to get you out of yours. I have to do my own version of the 15-point plan.
Right, because my 15-point plan doesn't allow me to eat chocolate after dinner at night.
Shame on you.
And yours does.
It sure does.
Small example.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And your 15-point plan has to revolve around two little ones that you have. And my 15-point plan, I have more time to myself and don't necessarily have those two, which could become parts of your built-in 15-point plan because they're right there for you each and every day to have those laughter moments that those two probably give you 30 seconds of giggles every day, I'm sure. So, folks, it has been a heck of a journey for season 1. I've been very excited to have the opportunity to sit across from you, Jillene, as we've been able to share the 15-point plan with everybody. We're going to take a small break. How long? We're not telling. That's because you've got to keep staying involved in the Facebook group. That's because you should make sure you're subscribed so that when the new episodes show up, they show up. We don't want you to miss a single episode. You can always go to the 15pointplan.com to see what's going on. You can always be a part of the Win, Make, Give Facebook group. We make it through season 1. And Jillene, just before I wrap it up, as I always do, you just wanted to go back to one of those 15 points there of gratitude to finish this season.
I do. I want to actually give a shout out and huge gratitude for our producer, Dave Weldon. He's here in the room with us. And if you haven't seen pictures of our podcast studio, come to my Instagram. You'll see pictures. You know what, Dave? I might actually have to get a picture of you and post there.
Dave
He's
doesn't
shaking
allow
his
that
head.
stuff.
But thank you to Dave for all of the effort that he's put in, especially the beginning of season 1 when there was probably a lot more editing than there is in the latter part of the season.
Well, that would depend if you listen to the episodes and hear the editing that he doesn't do to make us, to sound more authentic, Jillene.
So he's done a great job and put up with a lot. So thank you to Dave and thank you to you, Chad, for your energy and really caring about the audience too. Like this isn't about you and I. This is about the people that might be listening and then on this journey with us. So we appreciate you, Chad, and we appreciate all of you who are listening. Thank you.
That's the way to finish it, Jillene. You're right. We appreciate you, our audience, the people coming along the journey with us because we know the transformations that it's having in your life. Folks, Normally, I tell you that we hope that this upped your energy. We know this has upped your energy. Our plan in season 2 is to make sure we keep you out of the rut and in the groove. We'll see you next season on the 15 Point Plan podcast.